Hi, my name is Barry Sterling Mitchell. I produce the Sterling Net Point Power Rankings and the Bias Plus reports. Today is November 5th, 2015, and this is Ben and Barry on football.
Hello out there, everybody. This is Ben Dickerson. I am your co-host. I'm sorry, I just noticed my birthday balloons are finally starting to wilt. And they're
Yeah, I
last
was
week
wondering what
you
was going on back there.
last week you probably only saw the string because they were still way up in the air, but now
Oh,
they're
okay.
starting they're starting to droop. I need to throw them away. But anyway, I'm proud of myself. I'm on the comeback trail. I finished last week at a solid 50%. So I'm doing better than I was before. I think I'm going to have a much better second half.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Benny, because let's see, still in that point ranking through that time period. I think that I was somewhere near where you were. Let me see if I can. There we go. 57%.
Okay.
Not bad, not bad. It was those last couple games that really helped me because um in the early part of the games of the day, I was taking a lot of L's and no, missing. I missed on the Dolphins, I missed on the Packers, the Colts, the Texans, and the Lions. So those are teams that I look at them as upsets for them to take those losses. But then after that, the only one I missed was the Chiefs. And what can I tell you? Niners, Jags, Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals came through, and the Cardinals was one of the big surprises there. So 57%, not too bad for straight numbers. Now, Benny, let's talk about the bye week real quick. Your bye teams are Cincinnati, Dallas, Kansas City, and Tennessee. You're the fantasy guy. You normally have a little something to say about bye teams and the fantasy implications.
Yeah, well, people whose fantasy teams have been living off of Dak and Pickens and CeeDee Lamb won't have them this week. People that picked Mahomes early in drafts thinking they were being smart. I'm going to get the best quarterback early. Yeah, okay, well, he hasn't been having the greatest of fantasy seasons, but he's been pretty good. But you won't have him this week. You waited 7 weeks for Riche Rice to get off a suspension. Then as soon as you start him for 2 games, they're out on the bye again. Ha 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 ha. And I don't even know what to say about the Bengals. I don't know what to say about the Bengals.
Right. Well, we do have the bye week, and this was the deadline for all trades, and a whole lot of things happened. Did you have any comments on those before we move forward?
Um, it's hard to say. I'm gonna have to see how some of these players work out for their new teams. I think big things are being looked for from the Colts now that they got Sauce Gardner.
That was the
But
one thing I was thinking also, Benny. That's probably my number one thing I focused on.
yeah, I think it was Dan Orlovsky though who said this season Sauce has been leading the league in holding and pass interference. So if they can get the penalties out of him, they'll be on their way. And
Okay.
this is not, sometimes on the trade deadline, you'll see teams grabbing guys as quick fixes to plug up holes as they start to make their playoff runs. And sometimes you'll see guys that make long-term commitments or what look like they may turn into long-term commitments, such as the Sauce Gardner deal. I think he's somebody that they're going to want to, re-sign and keep. Um, the guys like the Eagles guy, I don't know how they're going to handle that because the Eagles, they're kind of famous for this. Howie does this every year.
Yeah.
He grabs guys for the stretch run. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Maybe he grabs 3 or 4 guys and 1 or 2 of them work out, 2 of them don't. But he's always aggressive. And to me, that's a good thing. That's smart to do. Uh, the Cowboys sort of kind of did some stuff, but I don't know if it's too late for them or not. It's going to be an interesting second half.
Interesting second half. Yeah, I like the Cowboys move, but they do need help stopping the run. Somebody help plug up that middle, and I like Quinton Williams, so that might work out. Okay, next up, Benny, let's look at the first game of Week 10. This is Thursday night. Raiders at Broncos. Bias plus score of 17.6 favors those Broncos, Benny.
As it should. One of my
Yes, it
favorite teams,
should. Yes, it should. I
my
mean,
new favorite AFC team
they're
is the
ranked
Broncos.
eighth in net points compared to the Raiders ranked 30th. So it doesn't leave a lot to have to be explained as to why. The
Yeah,
bias favors them.
we're looking at the AFC West, 7-2 as opposed to 2-6. The Broncos won a very tough game last week against the Texans, top ranked defense, mainly because they have a top ranked defense as well, along with the fact that their offense was able to find the end zone and Houston's offense was not able to find the end zone. So that took care of that game. Now, as far as the Raiders are concerned, Geno Smith had one of those games again. He threw his 11th interception of the season on Sunday against Jacksonville, but he also almost dragged the Raiders to an overtime victory. Ultimately, they did lose to the Jags, though, 30-29, very close game. He had a really good game himself, though. I tell you, Geno's up and down. He either has a stinker or he has a really good game. 284 yards, 4 touchdown passes, lots of production. But because they couldn't get a run game going, if he hadn't played the way that he did, the Jaguars would have blown them out.
Mm.
You know, defense played horrible. Jags ran all over him. ETN had a big game. I think their rookie running back even came in and had decent numbers. And their defense, the Raiders' defense, only generated like one sack. That was it. They had nothing else really to hang their hats on. So I'm going to have to go with the Broncos on this one, and to continue their dominance in the AFC West with the bias.
All right, Benny. Falcons at the Colts in London, 9:30 in the morning Eastern time. Bias plus score of 15.7 favors the Colts.
The Colts, and they
Yeah,
should
favors the
have the
Colts.
bias.
The Colts are ranked first in net points. Falcons are 24th. Colts are plus 12. Falcons are -4. That's a 16 point differential right there. But at the very least, the Colts are a little bit ahead in turnover differential, and so that pared that down a little bit. But 15.7 is still the score favoring the Colts.
Yeah, Colts look like they needed a little get right game. I don't know if this could be considered a get right game because the Falcons aren't that bad now. Their record says they're 3-5, but Michael Penix came back at quarterback. Unfortunately for him, they had to play the New England Patriots, and the Patriots defense is playing extremely well right now. Um, and real quick in the game, he found out that the Patriots came in, schemed up against the run, made sure they weren't going to let Bijan beat them, and basically put the whole game into Penix's hands. Now, he did throw for 221 yards, and more than half of that yardage went to Drake London, and all 3 touchdown passes went to Drake London. So thank goodness for Drake London. But also, they play some inspired defense, which the Falcons do sometimes. They actually gave the Patriots a tough time. 6 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, and they had a pick. But they eventually lost the game. Lost the game 24-30. I'm real tongue tied today. 24-23. Again, the Falcons are known to play some inspired defense. It's just you never know when it's coming, and Penix isn't really on top of his game yet. But he is back from injury, and he's played a little bit better. So I don't think we'll see Kirk Cousins anymore unless he goes down with another injury. Now, like I said, the Colts need a get right game. I don't know if they'll be able to get it in this game, but they will be at home at least. It's funny. They went to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. The first quarter of the game looked like a typical Colts game. They forced a 3-and-out. They went on a 13-play touchdown drive. Then they forced another 3-and-out. Then when the Steelers punted the ball to them, they muffed it, gave the ball back to the Steelers. Then they stopped the Steelers on downs. They were looking dominant. They were looking like it was going to be just another great win for the Colts. Then the second quarter started, and the wheels fell off. From that point in the second quarter into the fourth quarter, not much of anything positive happened for the Colts. And Jones turned the ball over 5 times by himself. Horrible, horrible loss for them. Now, the question is, did they play really bad? Or did the Steelers play really, really well? That's up for debate. But I'm going to pick the Colts to beat the Falcons at home next week anyway, till we figure out what's going on.
All right, going with the bias, going with the Colts. All right, who's up next? Bills at Dolphins. Bias plus score 15 point. I got favorites the Colts, Benny. I don't know what the heck happens there. It's the Bills. It's the Bills. Bills are net point 4, Dolphins net point 27th in terms of rankings. So it's the Bills.
Yeah, this one, whew, man, I don't even know what to say. Okay, let's talk about the Bills first. Man, what a game they had this past weekend. Josh Allen was a crazy good 23 of 26. That's insane efficiency. 273 yards, and that was against Kansas City and their defense. And their defensive coordinator, Spagnuolo, that's my guy. That guy can scheme up a defense against anybody. But Josh Allen had their number in this one. In fact, the Bills only trailed for a few minutes in the second quarter, and they had the lead throughout the rest of the game. Their ground game is the best in the business, no doubt about it. And their defense held the Chiefs at bay and never let them mount a real threat to win the game. They look primed and ready for a big finish to the season. So keep an eye on the Bills. Now, in a home game against the Ravens, Tua led the Dolphins in, threw for a very inefficient 261 yards. This guy just came off of a great game with one eye. And then he goes to Baltimore, throws for 261 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns. Devon Achane, who usually carries them, had 20 touches, turned that into 106 yards, which is respectable, but he never found the end zone either. Miami's defense actually played well in about 3 of their games. This was not one of them. Go with the Bills on this one. Not to mention that they just traded away like 3 or 4 key players. They did keep Achane, and they did keep. There was Waddle.
Yeah,
There was rumors out there that they might trade Waddle, but they didn't do that. But they did trade a really good pass rusher, who I think has 6 sacks already on the year. They traded him, Jalen Walker, to the Eagles.
Eagles.
They're not getting any better.
No, they're not. All right, going with the bias. Browns at Jets. Bias plus score 3.7. Favors the Browns, Benny.
And isn't it fitting? Isn't it fitting that both teams are coming off the bye?
Well, there you go.
Last time we saw the Browns, they were getting embarrassed by New England 32-13. Last time we saw the Jets, they were actually winning their first game of the season and embarrassing the Bengals 39-38. That being said, who has the bias? The Browns?
The Browns.
Considering, I'm going to go with, oh, Jesus. This is a tough. Why am I fretting over this game? This is like the garbage bowl. I'm gonna.
Well,
I'm
really?
gonna. I'm gonna defer to the bias and go with the Browns.
And go with the Browns. That
Yeah.
just a little pass of field goal there, favoring the Browns. Um, amazing, amazing.
Well, the
So
Browns do have the better defense. There you
okay,
go. I got
there,
something to hang my hat on.
there you go. Well, the Browns are ranked 18th, giving up 23 points, and the Jets are ranked 27th, giving up 27.6 points per game. So you're absolutely right in terms of that. Um, even though I must admit, let's see, the Jets are scoring 21 and the Browns are scoring 15.8. So that's where it changed at right there. But it's so weird now that they've had all of these free agent changes, you don't know how that's going to impact things. So week 10 is going to be interesting.
Right. Jets are another team like the Dolphins, already not playing well, seem to be just dropping people off for draft picks. So you don't know how that's going to affect them, but I don't see it having a positive effect at all.
Yeah, yeah. But this could be a good game, Benny, right here. The Jaguars at the Texans. Bias Plus score 6.1 favors the Texans. You might not be afraid of the Texans, Benny, but should the Jaguars be afraid of the Texans? That's the question, considering
Well,
that the
let's
Texans
see.
are ranked ninth in net points and the Jaguars are ranked 18th.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, as good as the Texas defense is, and no doubt it really is good, they're still only 3-5. And that's because their offense continuously lets them down. It happened again last week against Denver. The only Texans scoring came from 5 field goals. If you can only light up the scoreboard with field goals, that's only going to take you so far. Now, on top of that, CJ Stroud's out with a concussion. I don't know if he'll be back. It's only Wednesday, so I don't even know if he showed up for practice today. He's probably still in the protocol. We'll have to see how he looks as it gets closer to Friday. On top of that, it's pretty clear that Davis Mills is not the kind of backup that you want to have to depend on, not for too long anyway. So, assuming, well, I won't assume anything. Let's move on to the Jaguars. They started off slow in their game on Sunday. They had a 3-and-out, then a very methodical 17-play, 81-yard drive that ended at the Raiders' 2-yard line with a Trevor Lawrence interception. Very bad start. Long drive all the way down, not just into the red zone, to the 2-yard line, and this guy throws a pick. They did, however, control the time of possession in the second half, and the lead changed hands 6 times through the second half and through the overtime, but they finally came out on top 30-29. And again, when I was talking about the Raiders, I said it's only by the grace of the football gods that allowed the Raiders defense to play a little over their heads, and a great game statistically by Geno. Otherwise, the Jaguars blow them out. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and I'm going to go with the Jaguars to go into Houston and beat the Texans. So that would be against the bias.
Saints at Panthers. Benny, Bias Plus score of 7.8 favors the Panthers. The Saints are ranked 31st in net points. Panthers are ranked 22nd. The main thing is that the Panthers are ranked 16th on defense. They're only giving up 22 points per game. And the offenses aren't that far apart. The Saints are scoring 15.3. Panthers are scoring 18.9. But there you go. It's those Panthers. They're playing a little bit better than what I ever expected them to be to do, Benny. What do you think?
Well, let's get the Saints out of the way first. They're going to be the visiting team here. They're only 1-8. They got thoroughly handled by the Rams on Sunday, 34-10. Tyler Shook looks shook. And all he's shown me is I really don't see this guy as a viable NFL quarterback. I'm not saying he can't get better. I'm not saying he can't, right his career, but I don't think it's going to be with the Saints. I can see the Saints using a first round pick on a quarterback in the 2026 draft and taking their chances that way. On top of that, Alvin Kamara is a shell of himself. And they just traded away their number one wide receiver, Rashid Shaheed. So and he went to Sam Darnold and the Seahawks. Oh boy. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. Bryce Young, on the other hand, back at quarterback for Carolina, but didn't really matter in this game. All he had to do was not mess up because Rico Dowdle, who some people thought, in fact, this was in heavy consideration. And at the last minute, this trade got shot down. Rico Dowdle was on the Chiefs' radar. I
Wow.
don't know. I don't know if the Panthers asked for too much back for him, but the trade got shot down. And Rico Dowdle put the Panthers on his back Sunday and punished the Packers defense for 130 yards on 25 carries. He went to work on them boys, brought his hard hat and his lunch pail, and he scored 2 touchdowns. And the Panthers defense, which you mentioned earlier, has been playing well over the last few weeks. And before they got blasted by the Bills there a week or so ago, they gave Green Bay all kind of fits. They turned them over twice. They kept them out of the end zone until late in the game. And I'm telling you, the NFC is about to get interesting, not because of the Saints.
Yeah.
Getting interesting because of Carolina. I got to give Carolina the nod on this, going with the home team Panthers and with the bias.
Going with the bias, going with the Panthers. Okay, next up, Patriots at Buccaneers. Uh-oh. Bias plus score 1.6, Benny. Favors those Patriots. Don't tell D.
She heard you.
Hey,
She
D.
she's in the other room. So the Patriots have the bias.
But not
They're
by a
seven and
lot.
two. They're 7-2, but the Buccaneers are coming off the bye. They're 6-2, and they could be dangerous coming off the bye because it's not like they weren't playing well before they went on the bye. But anyway, Patriots will be visiting. Um, they needed a little bit of luck this past weekend to pull out their 6th win in a row. Very impressive. They were up 24-17 in the fourth quarter against the Falcons, and the Falcons started making a comeback. A late touchdown made the score 24-23 in favor of New England, but the Falcons kicker, Parker Romo, missed the extra point, and the Patriots held on to take the win by 1 point. Now, the Bucs, like I said, are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, they were handling their division business against the Saints 23-3. So this could be the game of the week. This could be the game of the week. Drake May. Somebody's giving me the eye. Drake May against Baker Mayfield. Holy smokes.
I tell you. And look at this. Look at this. The Patriots are ranked 7th in scoring and 6th in defense. Buccaneers are 15th in scoring and 15th in defense, Benny. However, with all of that, differential is only 1.6 points.
Yeah, and the Bucs played one less game, I think, because the Patriots haven't had their bye yet. So Bucs at home, baby. Fire the cannons.
Going against the bias.
Yep.
Going with the Buccaneers, Benny. All right. Uh-oh. Your New York Football Giants. And what were you saying about them Bears there, Benny?
Oh, yeah.
Bias plus score 4.3 favors those Bears. They really do. Giants are ranked 25th in net points. Bears are ranked 19th. The Bears are scoring, they're 6th in scoring, Benny. 29th in defense. Your Giants are 22nd in scoring and 28th in defense.
Holy smokes, I forgot. The Bears are sixth in scoring.
Yeah.
Oh
The
boy.
only reason they're negative again, look at that defensive, the 29th in defense. They get
Yeah.
that defense
And
together.
the defense is actually playing better. That's what I'm saying. They are slowly, every week, they improve, improve, improve. Ben Johnson's earning his money, man. He's earning his money. But let's talk about my team first. So remember a few weeks ago, I called one of the 49ers performances the football version of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Okay.
Since I did that for your team, this week I'm going to do it for my team. Okay. The Giants, the good. Jackson Dart threw 2 touchdown passes and ran for one, and he committed 0 turnovers. The bad. Two of Dart's touchdowns came late in the fourth quarter when the game was out of reach, and he was the team's leading rusher with 56 yards on 8 carries. The ugly. The defense got trampled for 394 total yards.
Well,
I,
Benny, let me say this much. I know that's your squad, but don't you have Christian McCaffrey on your fantasy?
oh, absolutely.
And I saw today he's the number one fantasy producer out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So you didn't
But
know
I don't want to
whether
brag. I don't want to brag about my fantasy teams right now.
Okay.
Anyway, Caleb Williams held his own against Joe Flacco and the Bengals in a wild 47-42 shootout in which the score changed hands 8 times. What a game. If you got a chance to watch that game was insane. It was a nice bounce back from the 30-16 thrashing that the Bears took from the Ravens the week before. Um, the Bears' offensive attack was perfectly balanced. If I remember correctly, they threw the ball 37 times. They ran the ball 37 times. That you can't get any more balance than that. And although the defense did get torched by Joe Flacco, they did produce 3 sacks and 3 takeaways. That was probably the difference in the game, or one of the big differences in the game that kept them afloat to eventually win at the end. The team's improvement is real, but it's still a little uneven. The good thing is the NFC North is still very volatile, and anybody can still win it. That being said, I got to go with the bias and go with the Bears.
All right. I hear you. Going with the bias, going with the Bears. The Bears. Ravens at Vikings. Bias plus score of 0.9, Benny. Favors the Vikings.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was a little surprised at
Yeah,
that
well,
also.
they
Well,
had a much better early start than the Ravens did.
yeah, exactly, exactly. The Ravens are fighting through average nets where, they were doing pretty bad. Their net points ranking is 21, and the Vikings ranking is 17. Probably the biggest differential. Let's see. 25 points a game for the Ravens, 18 for the Vikings. However, the Ravens are giving up 27 points and the Vikings only giving up 23. So
Mm-hmm.
close, pretty close. Either way, long story short, it's favoring the Vikings, and we know that Lamar is back. So that could change everything.
Yeah, things seem to be going in the opposite direction for these two teams. Ravens look like they're about to start picking it up. Vikings look like they were starting to falter a little bit. I think they lost 2 games in a row. But then JJ McCarthy showed up. Super tight NFC North. Anybody's ball game there. But JJ McCarthy is back from injury, looking like a 2-year vet, which is chronologically what he is, a 2-year vet, when in fact, this was only his third NFL start. How crazy is that? He threw 2 touchdown passes, he ran for one, and the Vikings defense held the Lions' run game in check. That is something that is very, very difficult to do, but somehow they pulled it off. They had a whopping 10 tackles for loss against the Lions and that offensive line. 10 tackles for loss. That's incredible. And they got 5 sacks.
Wow.
What a defensive effort. Now, before the game, before he came back from his hamstring injury, Lamar Jackson said, it's do or die. Basically, what he was saying was they need to damn near win out to ensure their playoff chances. I don't know if they really actually need to win out. But when he was getting interviewed before he had come back, because remember the 1 week they thought he was going to come back and he didn't, and Snoop Hundley got one more start. At that point, they were 1-5. Now they're 3-5. Snoop won one, and then this past Sunday, Lamar came back, showed no rust at all, looked great. Of course, it was against the Dolphins. But again, like I said, regardless of who he's playing, he looked really, really good. Showed no rust, passed the ball efficiently, 4 touchdown passes. And by the way, my personal key to victory for the Baltimore Ravens, they gave Derrick Henry the ball 19 times. He ran for 119 yards. That's how you control things on the offense. Defense didn't play great, but they kept the Dolphins out of the end zone, which isn't a huge accomplishment, but it is an accomplishment nonetheless. In this particular game, with the Vikings being at home and feeling good, and I want to put some belief in J.J. McCarthy. Oh, my goodness, this is going to be a toughie. I'm going to go with the bias. I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Really?
Yeah. I want to lean toward Lamar. I really do. But I think as much trouble as some teams have been giving Brian Flores' defense, I think that the Ravens offense kind of plays into his hands. I think the Ravens receivers are going to have a tough time against a lot of man-to-man. And the problem that now they could have a problem if they blitz a lot and they don't get their run fits right. Lamar could have a big day on the ground, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to pull out the win for him if they can keep the receivers covered up. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Going with the bias, going with the Vikings. Interesting. Ron Diggs will be happy.
Yeah.
Cardinals at Seahawks. We have an NFC West matchup here. Bias plus score of 6.2, however, favors the Cardinals. Benny, excuse me, the Seahawks. 6.2 favors the Seahawks. Cardinals are ranked 14th in net points, and Seahawks are ranked 3rd. Seahawks are 5th in scoring and 5th in defense. Hard to beat that situation there, Benny.
Woohoo!
What can I tell you? What can I tell you?
Impressive. Very, very impressive. Cardinals will be on the road. Got to go up to the Northwest to see the Seahawks. So Jacoby Brissett made his 3rd start for the Cardinals, even though it was assumed by the media and by me that Kyler Murray would be ready to go against the Cowboys. Brissett played well in Dallas, as well as the other 2 games he started, but those 2 games were losses. This one turned out to be a win. The question now is, are they holding Kyler Murray out because he's really not ready? Or are they trying to decide if they want to ride it out with Brissett? Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. As the trade deadline was coming, in my mind, after seeing this past weekend, I'm thinking there's going to be one huge blockbuster trade at the deadline, and it's going to be Kyler Murray for like a boatload of picks and a couple of players. But it didn't happen. He's still there. So the jury's still out on whether they want to ride with Brissett or if Kyler still isn't really ready and they're going to eventually bring him back this week or next
Well, they
week.
put him on IR, Benny. So
He's only, well, that's 4 weeks. 4 more
that's
weeks.
4 weeks
out.
done. Yeah.
And that could be another reason why they gave Brissett this start, to see if they could trust him for the next month and go ahead and put Kyler on IR.
Could be.
Because once you put him on IR, he's done for 4 weeks.
Brissett's getting good remarks from the rest of his team. They like the way he runs the ball. They say he seems to be running the offense pretty efficiently.
And guess what? Marvin Harrison's playing good.
Yeah.
Kyler couldn't get nothing out of Marvin Harrison.
Mm.
He loves Jacoby. Their timing looks way, way better. He
Okay.
ran like 3 or 4 comeback routes early in that game, like in a row. Beat the DB every time on the same stinking route. And every time he turned around, the ball was there. Boom, bang, boom. So, they might
Well,
have
he
something
he
going
he
on.
had the move of the weekend down on that
Oh,
little
yeah, he
goal
shook the.
line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That guy's still picking up his ankles. They're scattered all over the field. Sheesh.
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Yeah. So, like we talked about the NFC East a little earlier, it's one of the most intriguing divisions in the NFL, as it usually is. The Seahawks, the Rams, and the Niners all have 6 wins, but Seattle sits in first place. Meanwhile, and this is what I don't like, but I don't say too much about it because Seahawks ain't really my team, but I like the way they're playing. And I like Sam Darnold, and I always have ever since he made that crazy remark about seeing ghosts. And we teased him about it. But my goodness, that guy has turned his career around. Everybody that was happy when him and the Vikings lost in the playoffs last season now have to wait another whole season to see if he turns into a pumpkin again. Because right now he's leading the Seahawks and he's leading them extremely well. Keep on waiting. He wore out the Commanders. He went 16 for 16 in the first half. I've been waiting to use this word. He was a scintillating 21 of 24 for 330 yards overall and 4 touchdowns. He is not playing, man. He is balling. Sam Darnold is balling. I gotta go with Seattle in this one. Going with the bias. Seahawks are home. I'm gonna take them.
All right, there you go. Going with the bias. Bias. Going with the Seahawks. All right. Lions at Commanders. Bias plus score of 17.5. Favors those Lions. Benny, they're ranked 6th in net points. Commanders are 23rd, and they just lost their quarterback. So, what do you got?
Okay, Lions are another team that need to get right game. Looks like they got one. They just aren't quite as automatic as they were last season. And this is the way I see it. Sometimes when you live on the analytical edge, like Dan Campbell likes to, things that used to go your way, might begin to kind of go against you. Here's a case in point. During that game in the fourth quarter, they were behind. They were trying to come back. They were down 24-17. They went for it on fourth down twice. They had already gone for it twice earlier in the game. They converted all of them. They converted these two also. One, they got the first down. The other one, they got the benefit of a neutral zone infraction. They still stalled on that drive after all that work, had to settle for a field goal, and then it got blocked. And consequently, turned into a field goal for Minnesota. So that was a 3-point swing, bang, back the other way. I tell you, analytics, gotta love it. Now, the Commanders were already struggling. They got bullied at home by Seattle. They lost quarterback Jaden Daniels to a dislocated elbow on his non-throwing arm. I don't think they've decided if he needs surgery or not, but my guess is he will. I don't know if he'll be out for the season, but it's going to be a while before we see him again. Luckily for him, it's on his it's on his non-throwing arm, so we don't have to worry about him getting like Tommy John surgery or something, you know. But yeah, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. I'm definitely going with the Lions with the bias on this one.
All right, going with the bias, going with the Lion. Okay, there we go. That Lions game is the last of the early evening games. Got one more NFC West matchup. My beloved 49ers are going to host those Rams.
Oh, this is a toughie. This is another big game. This is a must watch.
Bias
This is a
plus four.
must watch.
14.8 favors the Rams. Benny, they are ranked second in net points. My Niners are ranked 16th. The Rams are just playing really good ball. They're second in defense. We're 10th. They're eighth in offense. We're 23rd. All I can say is we've overcome some of these odds like this during the season, but this could be a really good one.
Rams are 6-2. Offense is rolling just like it was last year. Biggest difference is the defense is playing way better. In fact, because they're playing so well on both sides of the ball, and I'm really noticing how hot Matt Stafford is right now, that makes them extremely, extremely dangerous. Now, the Niners, they hammered my Giants like they were supposed to. You know, they kept the game script in their favor with a crippling running game led by Christian McCaffrey, of course. The defense bounced back from a clunker in Houston the week before, and they held the Giants to one touchdown until garbage time. They scored 2 touchdowns late in the game, but the game was already out of hand. I'm sorry, bro. The Niners have pulled out a couple of good ones. This would be a great one if they could pull it off. But I think the Rams defense is going to be able to kind of, I don't want to say they're going to eliminate McCaffrey, not eliminate, I didn't mean to say that, are going to limit Christian McCaffrey. Number one, because I don't think they can do it. Number two, because I hope they don't do it because I need the fantasy points.
Yeah.
But I really think their offense is cooking on all cylinders right now, and they're going to be too tough for the Niners defense to stop. So I got to go with the bias and pick the Rams.
Going with the bias, going with the Rams. Okay, Benny, I think that's it for the 4 o'clock games. Steelers at Chargers. Bias plus go of 7.5 favors the Steelers. Now, this turned on turnover differential right here.
Yep.
That really, the Chargers are ranked 12th. Their net points plus 2.4. The Steelers are 0.9. But that 1.1 average turnover differential compared to the Chargers minus 0.4 swung this all the way around. So long story short, bias plus favors the Steelers, Benny, over the Chargers.
Steelers get the bias. Yeah, that Steelers game, I have to count that as a turnover skew there. That was pretty crazy against the Colts. The Steelers have the highest paid defense. I think I've mentioned that before. They have the highest paid defense in the NFL. But it took till last Sunday for them to actually play the way you would expect a highly paid defense to play. And they did it against a very unlikely opponent. If they did it against the Dolphins, I would have been like, oh, okay, there they are. Now they're playing like they're supposed to. But they did it against the Colts.
Yeah, I know.
That's scary. They didn't just play well. They shut down Jonathan Taylor. They sacked Daniel Jones 5 times, and they forced 6 big turnovers. Now the question is, it took them all this time to have a game like this. Can they keep it up? Can they do it again? Now, Justin Herbert threw a pick 6 early, then lost both of his starting offensive tackles before halftime in their game against Tennessee. Looking a little shaky there. They were in Tennessee. I was like, oh, the Titans going to squeeze another one out, but it wasn't to be. On top of all those problems in the first half, they never really got their running game cranked up, but Justin Herbert stayed cool, and he carried them to a 27-20 victory. The Chargers are a little bit shaky. Sometimes they look really, really good. Sometimes they look kind of good. They haven't looked bad, but they are susceptible to getting taken out if the Steelers can recreate the kind of defensive effort that they did last week. I don't know if they can do that because that kind of came out of nowhere, to tell you the truth. But if you couple that with the 2 starting offensive tackles being injured, Now it's looking like an upset in the making. So I'm going to I want to go with the Chargers. I really, really do. I want them to win. I think they have the better offense and all that stuff. But I'm going to pick the Steelers because I think they found something. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's on defense. And I think they're going to give the Chargers all they can handle. So I'm going to go with the bias and pick the Steelers.
Well, that's a prime time Sunday night game you got there, Benny.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll all be tuned in for this one. This looks like a good one also. Monday night.
Monday.
Got
You got an echo in there.
an echo, a little teeny voice. Eagles at Packers. Bias plus score. Ready for this? 0.1.
Ah,
Favors the Packers.
ah.
Ah. Well, Eagles are ranked 11th and the Packers are ranked 10th, Benny. And then Eagles are actually doing better on turnover differential with 0.5 plus, and the Packers are actually at 0. So when it all calculated out, Packers still came out ahead by a smidgen. A
Just a
smidgen.
smidge.
A smidge.
Okay, well, let's see what we got here. Let me do that first. All right, so Eagles are coming off the bye. Last time we saw them, they were extending their dominance over the NFC East with a convincing win over my Giants. Now, the Packers. I have questioned the Packers defense, and I have questioned Jordan Love at different times during the season. In fact, I said something about mediocrity involving Jordan Love, and he came back and had a great game the next week. Then he turns around. Oh my goodness. Consistency is clearly not their strong suit. Again, the word mediocrity comes to mind in reference to Love and the Packers defense. They had he had 0 touchdowns, and he threw an interception, and the defense only had 1 sack and 1 takeaway against the Carolina Panthers. That's not going to get it done, man. Bryce Young beat them boys. Well, it wasn't really Bryce Young. It was really Rico Dowdle that beat them. But their lack of run stoppers is remarkably bad. And I can't remember, did they make any defensive line trades before the deadline? I don't think they did. I really don't think they did. Uh, yeah, I think the Eagles are going to roll in there and take care of the Packers. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Packers know they got trouble coming, and I know they know that they haven't been playing really well. And I think they'll, kind of try to do really well against the Eagles because that's what people do when they play the Eagles. They usually play their best. But I think the Eagles are just better than the Packers, man. I really do. And coming off the bye, they should be itching to get busy. They run Barkley early with the Packers' lack of run stuffers. This one could be really good game, or it could get kind of ugly for the Packers. So yeah, I'm going to pick the Eagles and go against the bias.
All right, you're going against the bias, going with the Eagles. And I was saying that I was messing with my son. You know, he always said the thing going on with the Eagles and the Packers, but he definitely is saying he's a Packer guy going with the Packers.
I don't even want to hear it. I don't even want to hear it.
All right, so you're going against the bias, going with the Eagles. I can see it
Yes.
though. I can see it. Love threw one pass in that last game that went to absolutely nobody. They were like, what the heck? All right, so there you go. So, Benny, that's Monday night. Wraps up week 10, and we always have one small piece of business to take care of at the end of our reports. And that is the Bias Plus Buster of the Week. Benny, we talked about them 2 or 3 times. Those Pittsburgh Steelers
Yeah, it had to be the Steelers.
had to be the Steelers, didn't it? Nobody was expecting that to happen like that. So with a Bias Plus score of 23.1, congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a unexpected win at the very least. So, well, okay, that wraps up the Bias Plus reports for Week 10. I don't have anything in particular, Benny. Do you have anything finally you want to run through?
No. I'm looking forward to a couple of these games are going to be extremely interesting and hopefully well played, especially the Rams 49ers game and the Patriots Buccaneers game. I'm really looking forward to this. And I'm hoping that Bucky Irving is back for the Bucks, and I'm hoping that Ricky Pearsall is back for your Niners because I got them in fantasy. They've been sitting hurt for the last couple of weeks, and I need them boys. So let's go.
All right, there you go. There you go. Again, this is Ben and Barry on football. You can reach us at www.benandbarryonfootball.com. Please remember to push the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that you'll be advised when we get new videos out. All right, Benny, that's it for me.
I'm done.
Peace.